let's get into it, shall we? Because a lot has come out. And what we'll do this one first, because it's only going to get worse as things go on. So, Turning Point USA. Ex-Turning Point executive pleads guilty to attempted election fraud. And yeah, this is going to get worse as it goes on. Hello, Lorna. Hello. I see you there. I think you might be the only moderator in at the moment. So Austin Smith, the former director of Turning Point Action, which is the political arm of Turning Point USA, pled guilty to attempted election fraud for his effort to forge signatures while running for re-election to the Arizona legislature. When Smith was indicted in June for his sophomoric effort to forge 100 signatures, he called the charges ludicrous. And the Democrat plot. See, I saw you there, Dorothy. I saw you. Let the whispering begin. I can't even see that. Why didn't I could put the background on that a bit darker? Or I could just move it, couldn't I? So, ludicrous and a Democrat plot. So, that's another thing. So, a Democrat plot, apparently. But on November 17th, he admitted to forgery and to knowingly deceiving the Secretary of State's office. Neither Smith nor TPUSA made any comments. Smith had been charged with 4 felonies and 10 misdemeanors, but in a plea deal, he admitted to just 2 charges. He will be sentenced January the 6th. Since he has no prior criminal record, he could be fined with probation, likely a $5,000 fine and a 5-year ban from seeking public office. So it says Smith, who was endorsed by the Center for Arizona Policy Action, an Arizona group affiliated with Focus on the Family, was elected to the Arizona legislature in 2023 while working for Turning Point Action and joined the far-right Arizona Freedom Caucus. He previously directed Students for Trump, which was overseen by TPUSA for years. And hello to you guys coming in to chat. When first accused of fraud, Smith denied the charges but claimed he could not afford to prove his innocence in court. He resigned from Turning Point and halted his re-election campaign, but continued serving out his term in legislature. But this is where it gets real bad. So Smith is not the only person from TPUSA, the organisation founded by the late Charlie Kirk, to be indicted for election crimes. Tyler Bowyer, former chief operating officer of Turning Point USA, was one of 11 fake electors indicted for efforts to disenfranchise Arizona voters by falsely claiming Trump won the state. Bowyer was one of more than 70 people recently pardoned by Trump, but the pardons cover only federal crimes, not state crimes. He now serves as COO of Turning Point Action. Couldn't make it shit up, could you? Also indicted for election interference, State Senator Jake Hoffman, a major player in TPUSA's 2020 effort to flood the internet with thousands of false claims of election fraud. Hoffman's digital marketing company, Rally Forge, contracted with TPUSA for fake posts created by teenagers using fake online personas. Hoffman, too, was endorsed. Thank you very much, B Speech. Thank you very much for the super chat. Harsh, what's your favourite kind of pie? My favourite kind of pie, steak. Steak and ale. Proper homemade steak and ale. So it says, for fake posts created by teenagers, blah, 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 was endorsed by Focus's Arizona partner organisation. And last November, Turning Point Action was fined for failing to disclose its donors, following a 2021 complaint filed by Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. So They're basically a bunch of crooks. Turning Point USA are basically a bunch of crooks. And not only are they a bunch of crooks, but they basically got given a pardon by Donald Trump. And subsequently, at least one of them are still working within Turning Point USA, which is absolutely bloody brilliant. So when you think that Charlie Kirk, prior to his death, he had obviously, something had happened to the point where Charlie Kirk wanted the funds, the money, to be Lorna. He wanted the funds to be looked into. He'd said, look, he basically, and I'm paraphrasing, said, look, we need to get a hold of the finances and find out where the money is going. He worded it more politely, but I think it's safe to say that when you're the head of a company and it gets to a certain size and you've got different departments handling certain things, when the CEO has to turn around and say, look, I want to do a Doge style audit, not just like a normal business audit or anything like that, but a proper Doge style audit where they fucking basically look at everything, it's quite telling. You're getting to the point there where this guy is turning around and saying, something's going on with the money and I don't know what's going on with it. And I want to know what's going on with it. And I'm not saying that this situation with respect to the money had anything to do with Charlie Kirk's death. I'm not saying that. But it's not a good look, is it? It's not a good look when you think that he asked for this to happen, and lo and behold, not long after he called for it to happen, he is executed, and we see what we see. We see people acting strangely. Now, some people can turn around and try and offer excuses and say that it's not weird, that people are normal, and the smiling security over him is normal, and all of this sort of stuff. But I think we know that it's not. It ain't normal whatsoever. And then you hear that, that these things are happening. There's literally things ongoing about these individuals who was around this business, and some of them that are still within this business acting in this manner. And not only that, but you have a new CEO of the company who was appointed, who just happens to be Charlie Kirk's wife, who seems to be appointed from people above her. Do you know what I mean? Let's make no bones about it. She ain't the boss. She's not the boss. She's just someone who holds a position of a company that is turned into a political vessel controlled by people with money and power. And that's my opinion. I'm not saying that I don't, Tanya says, I'm sorry, but Charlie was a CEO and he has to have known. Not necessarily. Again, CEO is the position within a company, but he's not, if he's not involved in all of the financing of things, unless he makes it his job to do it, then he would do it. Do you know what I mean? He would know. But I think what we learned was that Charlie Kirk trusted people. He trusted those around him. Look at what happened with respect of his security team. The security team alone. He was questioned as he pulled into UVU by Frank, and Frank had turned around apparently and said, look, I don't feel comfortable with this. This isn't right. This isn't good. Where Charlie would turn around apparently and say, no, I trust those around me. And I know that, Tanya, in your position as a CEO, you say it's your job to know, and maybe 9 CEOs out of 10 would know exactly where every single pound of money goes or dollar of money goes. But I can guarantee you that there will be CEOs out there who, there will be people who control the funds. There'll be people who control the money. There'll be people who have, spending accounts, for instance, and where does the money truly go? Do you know what I mean? But the CEO and CFO usually, you have people who handle specific areas. And yes, you could argue the CEO of the company should make it their business to know everything. And some do. But the reality of it all, Not all do. And if you've got a CEO who fully trusts the people around them, then they probably won't look into it all the time. You may find that it got to the point where Charlie is now starting to look into things, and or someone else has raised a red flag with him, and it's made him look at it. But for him to call a Doge-style order, if that's accurate, that is not. It wouldn't be needed if he knew. It's not something that he would need to do. Why would he call for that order if he knew exactly what was going on with the money? And because he'd know. There you go. That is as simple as that, isn't it? But do let me know in the comments what you think. Did Charlie Kirk know? Did he not know? Should he have known? Was it, or did he, in the end, learn something, and that ended up with him needing to look deeper into things? Some people say this man was being isolated by a nefarious group of shills of all kinds. We don't know the dynamics, you see, of Turning Point USA. We don't know. But we do know one thing for certain. Charlie Kirk put a lot of trust into his security team at the detriment of his life. So is it beyond the realms of possibility that he would trust people around him who were supposed to be handling the money, and perhaps they were indeed handling the money? Again, let me know in the comments.